Shabbat shalom to everyone. It's nice to see everyone. Last weekend, Tom Barnett and I led 6 teenagers on our yearly confirmation trip to Jewish New York. They are 15 and 16-year-olds, and before I left, I said, "Pray for me," and my prayers were answered. Now, we do it for many reasons. It is a tradition. It's a way to expose our students to dimensions of Jewish life that cannot be found in Kansas City. New York City is the great Jewish city. It is a way to build, even the non-Jews are Jewish, but that's a whole sociological discussion. It's a way to build connections among the students. The kids get to know Tom Barnett and me better. It was one of the best trips we've ever had, I think. And the Talmud quotes Rabbi Hanina, who declared that I have learned much from my teachers, more from my colleagues, and most from my students. And I think Rabbi Hanina is right. This was a learning experience for me. It helps me and helped me to understand these kids and to comprehend the world that they live in. It enabled me to envision the future of our Jewish community. And here are some of the things that I learned, and let's start with the comical things. First, boys don't know how to pack. They certainly don't know what to wear to a synagogue in the Upper East Side of New York. I told them, and it was in writing twice, and it was verbally communicated to them at least 2 or 3 times. I told them that they needed to pack something synagogue appropriate. Obviously, contextually, it's on the Upper East Side of New York. We went to Central Synagogue, which is something. And at the synagogue, the dress ranges from business attire, and it gets loose by being business casual. The girls on a trip did exactly what we asked. They came down the elevator. They looked elegant and perfect. The boys were clueless. They didn't even have any idea what I meant. None of them really brought normal pants on the trip. One boy came down wearing a pair of shorts, and some wore sweatpants, and when they came down the elevator, my face turned ashen. They're going to humiliate me. I wasn't a happy camper. I got over it. Second, they eat a lot. Now the girls eat too. Don't look at my credit card bill for their food. You would faint. And Joyce just had to write a check for us. I think she's going to faint. We went to Zucker's, which is a nice place, for breakfast every day. It's close to our hotel. And they had big breakfasts. And on the first day, an hour later, we needed to go to Dunkin' Donuts. And throughout our trip, we had big breakfasts, big lunches, big dinners. We went to Katz's Deli, where the sandwiches are like this. They ate everything. You need to feed kids. That's what I learned. Okay, so now the more serious observations. First, services in general are not their thing. The service at Central Synagogue is what I call Friday night, the Broadway show. There are 1,000 people there. It is very well choreographed. There is nothing spontaneous in the service. The musicians are first class. They have literally 3 cantors. Every clergy person is always smiling. It's like they must take gas before the service. The service was longer than ours, but they acted very appropriately during the service. But from my vantage point, the service did not resonate with them. I don't know what to make of it except what we know already. Our kids don't come to synagogue. It's foreign territory for them. We don't see them on the high holidays. And I asked the question, what's the future of worship for these kids? And that concerns me. It should concern all of us because Judaism without worship is missing something, both theologically and sociologically. And we're not the only synagogue that faces this, but this is our synagogue, and these are my teenagers, and I have to share that impression. They are living in a virtual world. They're always on their cell phone. There are no limits. They sit at a meal and focus. They don't talk to each other. They sit at the meal and they play games, and they on TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram, they're looking at pictures. And when there's any social awkwardness, they go to their screen. At times I need to tell them, turn it off. It's a distraction. They're on a tour. I said, we're paying a lot for this tour. Turn it off. And these teenagers are not inhabiting the world that I live in. Or I'm not inhabiting the world that they live in. Here was my shock, and I know I'm so far behind, but just be patient with me. Snapchat. Now, I got what Snapchat was, but I didn't get that there is my AI, my artificial intelligence. And they're asking artificial intelligence all day long questions. And they taught me how to do it. So I'm a new person. So I was going to ask you to ask me a question. I was going to do it with AI, but it would take too long. But so I sat down with AI like yesterday, and I started asking questions of AI. And this is what I asked AI. Asked him, AI, I don't know who this thing is. I said, do you believe in God? I don't know if there is a God or not. Do you pray? No, I don't pray. Why not? I don't pray because I don't believe in God. Okay, this is AI being confessional. Now, the question is, if I ask it now, will they give me another answer? And I was wondering if I ask questions, the more I ask questions, they know me. But I'm not getting into that. I don't care. So, should I give charity? This is interesting. If you have the means to give charity, it's always a good thing to do. That is not a Jewish answer. Do you hear? That wasn't a Jewish answer. That's a whole other thing. Perhaps this is a phase for the students. Tom Barnett believes this. I don't think he's right. I guess a good thing is that if you have a lonely child, might feel connection with AI. Maybe I was thinking of something positive about this. But this technology is so challenging because it really forces us to think, at least forces me to think, what is personhood? What makes us real? What does a human connection mean? And I don't fully understand what the relationship they have to my AI, but something that I'm going to continue to be curious about. Number 3, history matters to them. We took them to the 9/11 site, which we always do, and this is not part of their collective memory. They weren't born yet. It wasn't a great tour, but it did resonate with them. One of the children wanted to find the name of someone that their family knew had died in the towers. They found the name. Another example, we were very delayed in getting to Ellis Island. It was jammed, and we missed, it was unfortunate, so we didn't have a lot of time there. But guess what they did? They made a beeline to the Family History Center of Ellis Island. It contains approximately 65 million searchable records. And some found out that their families' names had been changed. Their personal history still mattered to them. Family history matters to them. And what do we do to preserve this? How can we as Jews use this? Number 4, we don't need censorship. Now, we took them to the Broadway show, The Book of Mormon, okay? Now, for those of you who haven't seen it, let me summarize it, if you can summarize it. The story follows two missionaries of the Church of Latter-day Saints as they attempt to preach the faith to the inhabitants of a remote Uganda village. These earnest young men are challenged by the lack of interest from the locals, who are distracted by more pressing issues such as HIV, AIDS, famine, female genital mutilation, child molestation, oppression of the local warlord. Now, the thing is on the edge. It's a little raw, but these young people got it. Some things they got, some things they didn't get, and they were not morally corrupted by it. We shouldn't underestimate these young people's ability to deal with things. We don't have to ban everything. And what was amazing to them was Tom and I were sitting at the end. They kept looking over at us, and I was laughing at everything, and they were saying, "The rabbi's laughing at this?" Okay. Fifth, they are kind, decent, they're very decent kids. They were kind to each other and supportive of each other. I don't want to get into details of that. We had extra food. They did whatever they could to give it away on the street. And for me, this was an especially poignant moment. I don't know how familiar you are with the New York subway system, but you go down and then you go up. So we're leaving the subway, we're going up this very steep flight of stairs, and an elderly woman was coming down with a walker. Everyone stopped. The kids were going up the staircase, they stopped. They moved to the side as if it was choreographed. And one of the kids brought the walker down. And they knew what the right thing was to do without being prompted. We've raised kind and respectful kids. Number 6, they are fascinated by the Jewish tradition. They seek it out. We went to Crown Heights and had a tour of the Lubavitch community. The woman who took us around was nice. She was not very sophisticated in her knowledge of Judaism, but she was warm. And she showed us, for example, the mikvah. There are mikvahot everywhere, the ritual baths. There's a ritual bath which is used for dishes. According to some traditions, you have to, what's called toveling, you have to dip your dishes in a mikvah before you use them. We went to this little synagogue, which was really a messy basement. We went to see a sofer, a scribe that was fixing a Torah. We went into a store, and she explained to us the idea of wearing a talit, and what a talit was. Fine. We went into the study hall of the Lubavitch, where Rabbi Schneerson used to give his drashot. And the tour was long, but they were very interested in this. And my takeaway was our kids want something authentically Jewish. We underestimate the power of our tradition, and I'm convinced that some of our kids feel cheated that they haven't been given enough. I'm not just making that up. And finally, adults matter in the lives of these kids. You can't underestimate mentorship. Tom Barnett matters in their lives. He is amazing with them. They look to him for guidance and support. Rabbis matter in their lives. Parents matter in their lives. Good teachers matter in their lives. And they are craving it. And they respond to it. Confirmation matters. I've been a confirmation teacher, I calculated, and I hate to admit it, I've been a confirmation teacher for 44 years. And it was time very well spent. I'm telling you that confirmation is important, and we have to keep it going. But in general, it's dying in Reform Judaism. We do well, but it's dying in Reform Judaism because bar and bar mitzvah has become the terminal rite of passage for Jews. And what value is bar mitzvah if a child feels little connection to the synagogue or even to worship after it? What's its value? If a child reads from the Torah in a language that he doesn't understand, what have we accomplished? Something, but not enough. And let me ask you this, and I speak the truth. How many B'nai and B'not mitzvah kids and families come to worship the week before their bar mitzvah and the week after? None. None. So our synagogue should be, we're the poster child for confirmation. We've never not had a confirmation class. It's always been relatively robust. Even when our school was very depleted, when I first got here 12 years ago, we never missed a confirmation. And making sure that 15 and 16-year-olds can have an intelligent discussion of Judaism is so essential. The teenagers need to learn more about Judaism, and they seek it. And if Judaism ends at Jewish education at 13, we might as well close down the school. Literally. You can't learn anything when you're anything serious about Judaism. You have to learn as an adult. You have to have a conceptual idea of it. If we can't cultivate that, it's something that we really have to deal with both as an individual synagogue, collectively. So to summarize, we have great kids. They are growing up in a complex world, a confusing Jewish world. They are not altogether certain where they fit in. We need to appreciate them. We need to give them more. The synagogue matters, Judaism matters, human connection matters, mentors matter, rabbis matter, parents matter. Let us give our youth more and demand more of ourselves. Shabbat Shalom.